Good evening, comrades and friends.
Good evening.
A couple weeks ago, one of my Facebook friends posted one of those horrific pictures, the one that Fred passed around of a pelican soaked in oil. And she typed in the words, "We are all culpable." And there were about 30 different comments and responses to that. And the overwhelming opinion seemed to be, yes, we are. We're all culpable. We're all responsible for the Gulf oil disaster.
Well, I mean,
And there were comments from, yeah, we need to ride our bikes more and we can't be so dependent on driving our cars and getting around, on gasoline-driven machines and things like that. So I typed in, well, the biggest user of fossil fuels is the United States Pentagon and the corporations. And several people typed in after me, yeah, that's right, thank you for saying that. But it really got me thinking about how all of us are made to feel that we're responsible for not only the ecological disaster with the oil gusher in the Gulf of Mexico, but really, how everything in capitalist society, redounds to the individual. We're all atomized, isolated individuals, struggling with our own individual problems. Society as a whole is left off the hook, and certainly capitalism and imperialism are left off the hook. Well, more and more people are feeling anger toward BP, British Petroleum, the owners of this oil rig that exploded, that caused the deaths of 11 workers, that have caused an end to the livelihoods and the way of life of really tens of thousands of people in the Gulf region, let alone what the disaster has done and is doing to the ecosystem and the other species that rely on the coastal waters for their life. Now, in June of 1992, Fidel Castro spoke at a UN conference on the environment and development in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And I just want to read a portion of what he had to say. An important biological species is in danger of disappearing due to the fast and progressive destruction of its natural living conditions, humankind. We have now become aware of this problem when it is almost too late to stop it. It is necessary to point out that consumer societies are fundamentally responsible for the brutal destruction of the environment. They arose from the old colonial powers and from imperialist policies, which in turn engendered the backwardness and poverty which today afflicts the vast majority of humanity. With only 20% of the world's population, these societies consume 2/3 of the metals and 3/4 of the energy produced in the world. They have poisoned the seas and rivers, polluted the air, weakened and punctured the ozone layer, saturated the atmosphere with gases which are changing weather conditions with a catastrophic effect we are already beginning to experience. The forests are disappearing. The deserts are expanding. Every year, billions of tons of fertile soil end up in the sea. Numerous species are becoming extinct. Population pressures and poverty trigger frenzied efforts to survive, even when it is at the expense of the environment. It is not possible to blame the third world countries for this. Yesterday they were colonies. Today they are nations exploited and pillaged by an unjust international economic order. The solution cannot be to prevent the development of those who need it most. The reality is that anything that nowadays contributes to underdevelopment and poverty constitutes a flagrant violation of ecology. Tens of millions of men, women, and children die every year in the third world as a result of this, more than in each of the 2 world wars. Unequal terms of trade, protectionism, and the foreign debt assault the ecology and promote the destruction of the environment. If we want to save humankind from this self-destruction, we have to better distribute the wealth and technologies available in the world. Less luxury and less waste by a few countries is needed, so there is less poverty and less hunger on a large part of the earth. We do not need any more transferring to the third world of lifestyles and consumption habits that ruin the environment. Let human life become more rational. Let us implement a just international economic order. Let us use all the science necessary for pollution-free, sustained development. Let us pay the ecological debt and not the foreign debt. Let hunger disappear and not humankind. And that was over 18 years ago that Comrade Fidel said those words.